Namastey Coders, I hope you are fine. So today is 21st March and we are gonna solve the LeetCode problem of the day. So this video is a part of LeetCode problem of the day where we are gonna solve all the LeetCode problems daily, right? So along with this LeetCode problem of the day, we are also solving LeetCode 75, which are the most important 75 questions from the LeetCode, which are most probably come into your interview. So if you are planning, if you are preparing for a interview, placement or anything, you should watch this video and solve those problems regularly. So let's start with the problem. Okay, one more thing, along with these DSA problems, I have also created a WhatsApp group in which we can discuss uh, any doubt directly with the other participants of the group. So if you want to be part of a large community of coders, you can join the group. It's completely free. So let's begin with the problem. This problem is very much interesting. So the problem is find all possible recipes from given supplies. So if you haven't tried this problem by yourself, I must suggest you that you should try this once, so you will get a brief about this problem. So this problem is based on graphs actually. So you have an information about n different recipes. You are given a string array recipe and 2D string array indigents. So we have given a string of array recipes and 2D ingredients, right? So ith recipe has name recipe I, and you can create if you have all the needed ingredient from ingredient I. Okay, if a recipe can also be an ingredient to other recipe. Okay, that is ingredient I maybe contains some string, a string that is a recipe. Good. If you are also given a string supplies containing all the ingredients that you initially have, and you have infinite supply of all of them. So it is given that we have recipes, so we have some supplies. Let's say these all are the supplies. Okay, these supplies can make these supplies are taken as an ingredient, okay, to make a recipe, and also these recipes can also taken as an ingredient to make other recipe. So that, let's say we are making a bread, so bread is a recipe, and as we are making a sandwich, so bread will be the ingredient of that recipe. So in this case, right, return the list of all the recipes that you can create. You may return answer in any order. Okay, so let's say we are gonna make the halwa, right? I hope you all are aware about halwa. It's an Indian dish. It's very tasty actually. So if you are not haven't tasted it, you should try it once. And we don't have, let's say, milk, so halwa is not possible, right? So we have gajar, carrot, we have let's say sugar, okay, and we want milk. Our milk is not there in the supplies, so halwa is not possible. Also, if we want to make something like sandwich, right, and bread is not there, so sandwich is not possible. So this is something, this is a kind of a graph which we need to create in case to want this so to solve this problem, right? So how can we solve this problem? The question is, how can we solve this problem? How to think about a graph, sir? So you may ask that, Kana, okay, this is good that we want a graph, but I cannot think about it, right? So I must say that you should try with your pen and pencil and start making a graph by your own, right? So let's start it. So let's say we have 3 ingredients or of supplies. Let's say I1, so supply 1, supply 2 and supply 3. Okay, we have two recipes, R1, R2. So ingredient may be a supply or ingredient may be a recipe. So let's say we want two supplies for making R1. Okay, and for R2 we want R1 and supply 3. So these two will make R2. Okay, so now if we want R3, which is required R1, R2, so we can make R3. But if we want a supply 4 for R3 or an ingredient 4 which is not there in supply or in any recipe, right? So we cannot make R3. So this is missing. So this is a kind of a graph which what we can do is right. So let's make a graph. So if you maybe get a brief about how to make a graph. So I want it back. Okay, good. So in this, what we can do is, first of all, for all recipes we will connect them with the with their ingredients. But if ingredient is from supplies, right, so that is a obvious ingredient that we can get, so we will not connect them with the supplies. If the ingredient is not a part of a supply, then only we will connect them. Okay, so now let's say R3 is from R1, R2, and this is R4, or let's say ingredient 4, which is not a part of any recipe or supply. Ingredient 4. Okay, now this is a graph which we are making. Now we will check that which node has in degree 0. In degree 0 means so we are making a directed graph, right? I'm sure you are aware about the directed graph, indirected graph. So if you are not aware about the directed, undirected graph, you should visit my previous videos. I will share the link with you in the description, right? So this is the important thing in a graph theory, that you must be aware about directed graph, undirected graph, topological search. So if you want that any depth video about those things also, so I can create a separate video which will cover all these things, right? Directed, undirected, cyclic, directed uncyclic graph, directed cyclic graph. So there are a lot of concepts in the graph, and it's a very vast theory, graph theory. So topological search, in degree, out degree. So let me explain you in degree, right? So in degree is nothing but the nodes which are directed toward the next. So it is a node R1. There is no node which is directed toward R1, right? So it's in degree 0. So how many edges are coming to the R1? 0. So in degree 0, how many edges are coming to R2? It has one edge, so it's in degrees 1, right? How many edges are connected to R3? It's 1, 2 and 3. So it has in degree 3. Okay, now we have counted the in degrees. It has 0 in degree, it has 1 in degree, and it has 3 in degree. That also means that the R1 is not dependent on any other recipe other than supplies, right? We can conclude that. So that means we can make R1 without any hurdle. So our answer, let's say it is our answer, right? So the answer will contain R1 directly. So what we can do is we can make a queue in which we will put all the nodes which has in degree 0. So first of all we will put R1. Also we will include R1 in an answer. All the nodes which has in degree 0. That means we can create them now, because they are not dependent on any other source or other recipe or other ingredient, right, which is not yet with us, right? Supplies are with us, but other recipes are not with us until we can create them, right? So we have R1 which has in degree 0, means it is not dependent on any other source, right? So we can put it in an answer, and we also put it in the queue, right? So that we can say that all other recipes which are dependent on R1 can be made, right? So we can make R1. So the recipes like R2 and R3 are dependent on R1, right? So we will make their in degrees -1. -1 means we will decrease their in degrees, right? That means their dependence are, so R2's dependence will become 0, means all the supplies which is required for R2 is now with us, and R3's dependence will become 2 because R3 got R1, right? So it is now dependent on R2 and I4, ingredient 4, right? But so the work of R1 is get completed now. So now once any degree will become 0, that means it is now we can make this recipe because we got all the ingredients. So we will put that in an answer too. And once we get such recipe, we will put them in the queue. Now we will work on the R2, right? So all the recipes which are connected with the R2, means which has dependence on R2, we will reduce their n degree, because we can make R2. So we can also so we got that ingredient for their connected recipes. So this, its work has completed. It is put it in the answer now. That's all. Our queue get empty, right? There is no other recipes in the queue. So that also means that we are not finding ingredient 4. That means our R3 is now dependent on such a source which is not with us, which is not provided in the supplies, either in other recipes. So R3 recipe 3 is not possible yet. So that means that recipe 3 cannot be made. So the answer includes R1 and R2, recipe 1 and recipe 2, which is true, right? So that is the whole algorithm which we gonna code, which we gonna write in for solving this problem, right? So I hope you understand this well. Now let me explain you the code. So if you have any doubt until here, right, you can directly ask me in the comment section. Guys, please don't be hesitate to ask anything, right? That is the most important thing in terms you want to learn something, right? Because without asking your doubts, you can't learn anything. So if you have any doubt, I suggest you to ask me either in the comment section or join the WhatsApp group, so we can discuss anything in detail there, right? Or you can, if you are hesitating or something, so you can ask me directly in my WhatsApp personal DM. That will be that is your choice. I am always there for any help if required. So we are creating a unordered map, which is mapping a string to its neighbor, right? And we are calling it a graph. And then we are making a unordered set of strings which will contain all the supplies, right? Because we want a search operation in string in supplies. So we don't want to use binary or a linear search in a vector, so that we cannot because binary search will increase the complexity to multiple of n. And for using a unordered set, we get a complexity of O1 for searching, right? So that's why we are using set, unordered set hash map for the search operation. Okay, now we are using a unordered map or a map or a hash table for calculating the indegrees, and we are initially making all the indegrees to 0 for all the recipes, okay, to 0. REC means recipe, ING means ingredient, and SUP means supply. Now we are calculating for all the recipes, and for all the recipes we are calculating for all the ingredients in the recipes. Ingredient is 2D array, if you remember, ingredient is 2D array, and ith recipe has name a recipe, and it can be created if you have ingredient. So ith recipe will be made by the ingredient ingredients, right? So now we will find that we will check that if that ingredient is present in the supplies, as means supplies, right? So if the ingredient is present in the supplies, right, we will not add that in the graph because supplies are unlimited to us, so we are not worried about those. We are worried about all those ingredients which are not currently present with us, and those ingredients are not present in the supplies. So if the ingredient is not in the supplies, this means this is a basic operation for finding anything in the set, inside the set, right? So if the ingredient is not in the supplies, that means we are gonna work on those ingredients. So what we are doing, we are we are creating a edge for those ingredient, and we are increasing the ingredient of that recipe. We are increasing the degree of that recipe because that recipe is not dependent on such an ingredient which is not present with us. Okay, so I hope you understand this well, right? Now after this, we now have all the integries of every recipe. That means we are now with us have all the dependencies of all the recipes. Now we are creating a queue, and all those recipes which has in degree 0, right, we are pushing it inside the queue. Now we are creating a vector answer. Now if until the queue is not empty, we are taking out the recipe out of the queue, we are popping it out. Now we are putting it in the answer, and for all the neighbors of that recipe, right, we are making that, we are announcing that we have got that recipe, right? And now you can use that recipe. That means we are making that that in degree, we are reducing that in degree, we are reducing their dependencies on unavailable sources, right? Because we got one source which is now available with us, so we are we are decreasing their in degree, right? And if some recipe in the neighbor of that the current recipe, right, has got in degree 0, that means we have got all the ingredients, right, of that recipe which is required. So we'll push that ingredient also in the queue, and then we'll work on that ingredient, and all those all those recipes which we can make, we'll return those recipes. So guys, I hope you understand this well. This is all in this problem, right? But this problem I find very interesting. So if you have any doubt, I understand that this is not a very easy or straightforward problem, but this is a very complex or tricky problem and not very easy to visualize these all things. So if you have any doubt, you can directly ask me in the comment section. You can join the WhatsApp group, and you can also ask me in my personal DM, right? So thank you guys for watching this video. I again suggest you all to go through the previous videos of LeetCode problem of the day. These problems are really very interesting, right? And if you watch those videos, you will get some uh, different insights, different approaches, because I always try to solve the problem in multiple ways. And also I always try to solve the problem in the way which is gonna be asked in the interview, right? So you will get to know about different approaches. You will got to know about the interview approaches. So uh, also the LeetCode 75 problems, those problems are very interesting and most important and basic problems, right? So yeah, that's all from my side. I hope you have a good day. Thank you. Bye.